Let me tell you about the 10 tiny habits that completely transformed my life. 2 years ago, I was a mess, overwhelmed, scattered, and honestly, kind of lost. You know that feeling when you're trying everything but nothing's working? Then I discovered something stupidly simple. Tiny habits. Not those massive life overhauls that last 3 days and leave you feeling like a failure. I'm talking about ridiculously small changes that your brain can't talk you out of. Habit number 1. I started waking up 30 minutes earlier. Not 2 hours, just 30 minutes. At first it felt impossible. My brain was basically a Windows 95 computer trying to boot up. But then something weird happened. Those 30 minutes became my favorite part of the day. And suddenly I had this weird superpower called morning momentum. Habit number 2. I started drinking water first thing in the morning. Like, before checking my phone. Your brain is basically a sponge that runs on electricity. No water, no function. Know those days when you're tired, unfocused, or moody? Yeah, you might just be dehydrated. Habit number 3. I started making my bed. I know. Sounds like mom advice. But here's the thing. It's not about the bed. It's about starting your day with a win. It's like telling your brain, hey, we're the type of person who finishes what we start. Habit number 4. I started writing down 3 things I wanted to accomplish each day. Not 20, just 3. Because let's be honest, most to-do lists are just wish lists that make us feel bad. 3 things became doable. Doable became consistent. And consistency became unstoppable. Habit number 5. I started moving my body for just 10 minutes each morning. Not a full workout, just movement. Could be stretching, walking, or just dancing like nobody's watching, except maybe that one judgmental squirrel outside. Habit number 6. I started saying no to things that drained my energy. I used to be a full-time people pleaser with part-time boundaries. First, it felt uncomfortable. Then it felt liberating. Now it feels like a superpower. Habit number 7. I started reading for just 10 pages a day. Not a whole book, just 10 pages. Want to know something crazy? That's 650 pages a year. That's like 12 books you weren't reading before. Habit number 8. I started practicing gratitude, but not in that Instagram quote kind of way. I would find one tiny thing each day that made me smile, like perfectly toasted bread, or that first sip of coffee. Habit number 9. I started doing a 5-minute evening review, just asking myself what worked today and what didn't. Because if you don't learn from your day, you're basically just living the same day over and over. Habit number 10. I started treating myself like someone I was responsible for helping. Sounds weird, right? But think about it. We're often better at taking care of others than ourselves. Now, here's the thing about these habits. They're not impressive. They're not Instagram-worthy. They're almost embarrassingly simple. But that's exactly why they work. You can't talk yourself out of them. You can't make excuses about not having time. And you can't fail so badly that you give up. Here's what happens when you stack these tiny habits. First week, you barely notice anything. First month, you start feeling different. 3 months in, people start asking what changed. 6 months later, you're basically a different person. But here's the most important part. You don't have to do all 10. Start with 1. Just 1 tiny habit. Because here's what I learned the hard way. It's not about motivation. It's about starting so small you can't fail. Your future self is being built by the tiny decisions you make today. So which tiny habit will you start with?